They making new laws every day, and those of the master they throw away. The things they go about and preach, it's not what they teach, and no one seems to care. The whole world lives in fear, just despair everywhere.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, Ashhadu anna kullu Rasulullah, Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, La ilaha illallah. In the name of Allah, most gracious and most merciful, in the name of the Almighty God, the creator of our universe, we give praise and thanks to the Creator. And I greet you, my brothers and sisters, my believing and my unbelieving brothers and sisters, with the greetings of peace. To my Christian brothers and sisters, peace be unto you. To my Hindu brothers and sisters, namaste. To my Rastafarian brothers and sisters, Jah peace and Jah love. And to my Muslim brothers and sisters and all other denominations, I greet you with the greetings of peace in the Arabic language. Assalamu alaikum. Our brothers and sisters all over the world must never be forgotten when we speak in terms of our worshiping of God. And that is the brothers and sisters who are being murdered and killed by the weapon of mass destruction that they call the coronavirus. The weapon is destroying everything in its path because it is not a weapon that was put on mankind by its creator. The powers that be, or that feel they be, are at war with each other. The war has begun among them. And so we are in the state of suffering for the simple reason that in every war, innocent people die. So whenever we have a war, however it might be, there are always people who die in that war that have nothing to do with that war, and that is innocent of it. And that's what we have to expect in any type of violence and war. And at this point in time, there is a war being waged, a chemical warfare that is being waged, and it's destroying the health of those who are innocent of the doing of the evil that is being persisted upon by those evil ones who invented and constructed this weapon of mass destruction that they are propagating as a virus and propagating that there is a vaccine to contradict this virus. Brothers and sisters, we have an immune system that is so strong than any other thing that our bodies possess. And this chemical weapon of mass destruction invades our bodies and gets to our immune system and breaks up everything around it. It's an evil and dangerous weapon of mass destruction. and the truth will reveal itself. And it's revealing itself for the simple reason that the whole propaganda of coronavirus is a propaganda that is backfiring now. That is why people are reluctant to go through the procedure of wearing masks and washing hands, because they realize that even though that they're doing that, even though we're doing that, more people are still dying. And even though it's being done in areas where they are closely knitted, still other people are dying. So, and the social distancing as well. So there are other people who are thinking differently in the society and looking at this whole thing in a more political manner in terms of the superpowers who have started fighting against themselves and among themselves. They have been doing that all the time, but it's now gone into weapons of mass destruction. And we will see the truth of this whole fallacy that they are calling COVID-19 virus. Nevertheless, people are dying, people are losing their lives, and it's even disfiguring some people, because right now it's being detected that even when you overcome the virus, when you have had this weapon of mass destruction attack you and you happen to overcome it, there are other things that are happening after you have overcome it. It's been seen now that, you know, you get strokes, you get deformed limbs, you get anxiety, feelings of anxiety, nervous disorders. These things are happening now after they say that you have overcome the virus. So there are follow-ups that we are seeing. So this weapon of mass destruction, brothers and sisters, is something we have to understand very carefully and to know that this is not designed and orchestrated by Almighty God. This is what we know. But yet still we sympathize with those who are losing their families, and we hope that there will one day come a time when the truth will reveal itself, because it will. Every time and whatever we do is the truth that we seek over and over again. And it's because of lies and deceit and corruption and jealousy and envy and discrimination. Because of these things, we are having this whole disaster that has come upon us. Brothers and sisters, as we go through this life, we must always remember how we came. You know, if we can't go back so far in memory, but when we see people, women having children, then we see the torture that a child has to go through before it comes here, before it reaches this earth. You know, the torture of coming into the world. It's not an easy thing. We have all been able to achieve that. We have been able to come into this world, all of us now on the earth and on this planet. But the agony, the suffering, the pain, you know what it is to be blind? That's how we are when we come into this earth, to this world. We are blind. We don't see. We speak a language that nobody understands when we come into this earth. It's a language that we have forgotten, but nobody understands when we come. So I'm blind, nobody's understanding what I'm saying. I'm coming in here, I am coming through blood. That's how I come into this earth. I come through blood. That's how we come. Blood and filth. That's how we come here. That's how we get here. And it must never be forgotten that those who try to tell us what to do and who try to big up themselves, like my brothers and sisters say, they came the same way, through blood, through filth, and through struggle. We had to struggle. You hear when the doctor tells your mom, push. What do you think you're doing? What do you think she's doing? She's opening because you're struggling to come out. And what happens when you get out here? You're born with your fists closed, not open. You never see babies born with their hands open. It's born with their fists closed. It shows you the amount of strength and power you had to use to come into this life. And then the next thing you do is you don't laugh, you cry. We cry. We come here and we cry. We don't come out here joyous and laughing and happy and meet a birthday cake. We cry with our hands and our fists. So we have come here from wherever we came. From wherever we came, that's how we arrive here. And so we know from the time that we have arrived here that this life that we have now entered into is a life of struggle, pain, and tears. Well, that's how we came. Now, there are those among us who don't feel that this life should be a struggle for them. So they design it in such a way that they make others struggle for them so that they feel satisfied. There are some of those who feel to them, who do not realize to themselves how they came here. And that is why Jesus had to say, beware of the scribes and the Pharisees, for they place heavy burdens on the shoulders of you to bear, and they don't bear them with one finger. He says they are like whited sepulchres with dead men bones inside. He says their endings will be worse than their beginnings. I just explained to you how the beginnings are, with the blood and tears and sweat and pain. Don't think it's only the mother that is feeling pain, you know. Why does the child cry? The child cries because we are free of this pain that we've been going through at that moment. It's not just the mother going through the pain. Many people think to themselves that when the mother is having a child, she is the one that's feeling all the pain. The child is feeling pain, coming out with pain. And so we understand, brothers and sisters, that a process like that couldn't be invented, but was created. And we were created in that form and put here. And each and every one of us are a special creation. And that is what we need to know. We are all very special people. Like the prophets and the messengers have been special in their way, we are special in our way. And we are the messengers to each other. We are the storytellers to each other. And we are the ones that have got to look out for each other because we believe that we were created, and we believe in a God that has more power than anything movable and immovable on this earth and on this planet. And so when we get tied up and tangled up with philosophies and interpretations and rules and regulations that we are forced to follow, especially in the direction of religion and of politics, then we get confused. Because when we look around and we look for religion, right, and we look for, on the other side, we're looking for politics. What we are seeing is that they are both working together, but they don't acknowledge each other. And it is the disacknowledgement of religion in our societies that continue to help to divide us. Disacknowledgement of religion is disacknowledgement of God. And if you disacknowledge Almighty God in whatever we do, then we will have a rough time. But we were made to struggle. And because we were made to struggle, it means that any struggle that we are faced with on this earth, we are supposed to be able to deal with it, because we dealt with the one to come into this earth and to come into this life. We, all of us that are alive, have been successful in dealing with that struggle. And therefore, we have the competence and the strength. You know? Imagine we are dealing with a struggle like that and we can't even walk, we don't know to creep, we don't know to talk, and we are coming and we are facing that struggle, and we are coming out of that struggle. There is no other one that we can't face, brothers and sisters. No other one. And that is why I know that we will be able to face the weapon of mass destruction that they are calling the Corona COVID-19 virus.
Man create his own monster. Weapons of damnation and disaster. No sign at all of human rights. Today has turned into night. Is racialism so? And segregation so? Which way is left to go? I don't know. Love thy neighbor. Tell me, what about he ain't heavy, he's my brother. Nobody cares a damn anymore. All they got on their mind is war.
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. We are now in our country. We have now passed the stage of reconciliation. And when people pass the stage of reconciliation, then we know that on all sides of the coin, there is a struggle. The struggle is being carried out in all aspects of our society. And it is very important, brothers and sisters, to understand. We have the struggle for women's liberation. That's one struggle. And that's in Guyana as in all other countries. We have the struggle for political dominance and political power by political parties who are of the opinion that they are allowing the will of the people to be carried out. And as I said before, it's very curious. I am very curious to understand how we have political parties and one party a set of people have voted for, and another party, another set of people have voted for, whereby the will for those people are one set, and the will of these people are one set, but it's not the will of all the people, or not even the will of the highest percentage of the people. So we have the political parties who are in their struggle, the women's liberation who are in their struggle. We also have the gays and lesbians and SASOD who are in their struggle. And then we also have the poor and the needy, the lame and the hungry, the orphans and the aged and the sick. They are in their struggle. And that's the component of our society. And one of the main aspects of that component would be the food of reconciliation. But in a situation like this, that is comprised with all these struggles, there is the other struggle of discrimination, what we call in this country racism. So that's how we are. And we are faced with promises and promises from the side of our political leaders. And we are faced with the promise of God from our religious leaders. But whatever the political leaders are promising us, they are coming out. Religious leaders are promising as well with faith in God, but are not prepared to see that some kind of reconciliation takes place between the political avenue and the religious and political avenues. Our world has shown us, brothers and sisters, that the political systems have failed. We're seeing it. We're seeing it all over the world. And we are also seeing the reluctance of our religious leaders, and especially in this country, to stand up and to speak out about the things that are fundamental to God in the society. So when we find that the things that God has prescribed are violated and are thrown aside, there is no one to speak about it. And we have our youths growing up who are more interested in the parties, which party. You grow up under this party, and so you support that party. Your grandfather supported it, your father supported it, and it's on all sides of the political avenue like that. We are brought up to support who our fathers and our foreparents have been supporting. But life has reached a different situation right now. Life is on an entirely different point. We have realized that regardless of who we support, if we don't give God the support, we have no support. That is what we are seeing. We are seeing it all the time. You know, the present administration, that's the first party in Guyana. I wonder if people sometimes don't realize that the co-founder of that party is a black African and a black Indian. You see, these parties do not belong to anybody but the people. They belong to us. You know, we run away sometimes with the fact that this one party belongs to such and such a person, and they even give the party the name, such and such and such and such and such a party. They don't call it the party anymore. They call a name and then they say the he party. The parties in our country that call themselves political parties to look after the welfare of us belong to us. The people are our parties, regardless of which one of them claim to be in power. They belong to us, and they must do as we say. test the attitude of God's people is if the religious leaders are reluctant because they are affiliated to one party or another, and that's not the direction that religious leaders should be going in. Religious leaders should be neutral and able to speak to any party or any political misunderstanding in accordance with what they, as a group of God-worshipping people, believe to be the truth. You know, so we have to, at this point in time, we don't worry with what ancestors and grandfathers and whoever supported. They had a reason for supporting that. We are in a situation right now where we support who support us as believing men and women. And therefore we must have the understanding and not the misunderstanding anymore as to how this whole system of politics is working, because it's a system that is failing. And if we keep holding on and being used to fight one against the other, rather than understanding that it's regardless of who. If you have more seats in Parliament, you are the one that have to look after me. You have to. Because the founder leader and the co-founder of your party is one of African descent. So it's not who and how who look. There's a lot of celebrations now, because some people feel happy, some people feel sad, some people feel racial, But that's not the point. The point is that we are at a point now in our lives where when we want anything and we need anything for ourselves, for our families, for our communities, that we get together. We get together and we form our groups and we request the things that we need. For we are entitled to have whatever is due to us from whoever says that they are at the head of the ship. We know that Almighty God is the leader, the president, and the head of everything on earth. And it is for our benefit that everything has been put here. For no politician and no religious leader has ever created a mango tree or a tamarind tree. Ever wondered how the oil lives under the sea? And if you have water and you pour oil in it, the oil swims at the top. Look at the miracle of the amount of oil that they are finding under the sea, with the water flowing on top of it. And there's nothing more that they have to do but to fight over that and to destroy the strength of the ocean and the strength of the earth. For the oil is the strength of the earth. Anyway, we don't want to go into that, brothers and sisters. I'm just saying that at this point in time, there's nothing new. We don't have a new government. We have people who were there before and are here again. We don't have a new opposition. We have the same people who were there before and is now in another position. And we know their behavior. We know their attitude. We see how they treated each other for 5 months. We hear how they spoke against each other for 5 months. We even hear now how they are speaking against each other, right? And who is blaming who? It's a very funny thing. All of a sudden there are certain people being blamed for things that have happened that have not been to the expectations, and they are being blamed. But listen, brothers and sisters, Jesus had 12 disciples. And up to today, when you hear of the betrayal of Jesus, they always say that it is Judas who betrayed him. That's what they always say, because they always pick out one scapegoat. But as I say, it's all of them that betrayed him. All. And so what I'm saying to you is that don't give one the blame for anything that has happened that you don't like. It's all of them. So take the mote out of your own eyes first, and only then will thou see clearly. Simply means look at yourself, be critical of yourself before you start criticizing others. That's all that it means. But never forget the struggle. Never forget how you came with a struggle, and that everything that happens in life and everything that we need to do in life, we have to struggle to do it. You want to go through school, you got to struggle. University, you got to struggle. You can't go to university, you got to struggle. You can't go to school, you still have to struggle. For it is the whole concept of struggling. And as we struggle, we get older, we don't get younger. And as we get older, we get more experienced. And as we get more experience, we understand more. We gain more knowledge to understand that when we look around us and we see what is happening, we know that God has spoken. And the truth will reveal itself, brothers and sisters. The truth will reveal itself. And as inhabitants of this country, regardless of what ethnic group we belong to, we have a right to whoever is in power, political power. We have a right. And we must demand that right, or else it will not be given to us. We must request and demand our rights for the things that are due to us on this earth by Almighty God. And as we do that, we will gain the knowledge of why everything has happened the way it has happened. And like we always say, it is not what happens, it's what happens after it has happened. I would like to end here and to make you aware of the fact that those of you who might not be aware, that it's not an easy task with our brothers and sisters on the Venezuelan border. It's not an easy thing. There are things developing there, and there's a struggle that is coming up there that we need to look into. And lastly, I would like to ask the authorities on the East Coast, especially between Plaisance and Collagen, to please be careful and to please relieve us of the congestion of animals on the street. There are all sorts of animals that are on our roads early in the mornings and late at night. And they have been causing accidents, and it can even cause a lot of death. Even during the midday hours they are there, but usually in the morning times early, and I see that there are even more horses now than cows. We want to ask you from our community, because we have drivers, we want to ask you if there is anything that you can do. We are requesting that of you, for it's our right to request. And we are requesting that these animals be rid of contaminating and interfering and congesting our roadways and causing various accidents. May Almighty God guide each and every one of you to understand that the truth is the truth and nothing but the truth. So help me God. As-salam. Practical experience is the greatest teacher. Memory is the greatest truth. And ungratefulness is the greatest sin.
Breaking down is a whole big runaround. A lot of talk is what goes on, while the world is left to mourn. Starvation taking toll, weapons out of control. The atmosphere is cold, so cold. Oh Lord, tell me, what about love thy neighbor? Tell me, what about he ain't heavy, he's my brother. Nobody cares a damn anymore. All they got on their mind is war, war. Tell me, what about equal rights and justice? Tell me, what about